Hey guys, Whitney here. Welcome to the Passive Investing Made Simple Masterclass. I'm your host, Whitney Elkins Hutton, and apologies for the tardiness being a couple minutes late. We had a little bit of technical snafu on our end. Actually, I should say my end. I own it all. But anyways, I am so glad you're here. We do this webinar every single week so you can learn the ins and outs of passive investing and go into your next deal with confidence. And today we're going to talk about all the things express car washes. But before we do so, make sure that you've checked out passiveinvestingwithwhitney.com. There you can get some free goodies for you. Also, if you want to talk all things passive real estate and see our open deals, you can go to passiveinvestingwithwhitney.com, fill out a quick little form there, and hop on my calendar. Now, I want to bring in our Director of Acquisitions, Eric Fitzgerald. Eric, welcome to the show.
Hi, Whitney. Thanks for having me. Hi, everyone. Glad to be here.
Now, Eric, we are going to tackle all things express car wash today, like how all of our learnings and how we've leveled up our investing model. That way we can give our passive investors the most positive investing experience possible. But before we do that, I would love for you to take a brief moment and just let everybody know who you are, what you do here at passiveinvesting.com.
Yeah, thanks, Whitney. As she said, my name is Eric Fitzgerald. I'm the Director of Acquisitions here at passiveinvesting.com. I've been with the company for about 2.5 years, which is crazy to think about, almost 3 years. I live in Charlotte, North Carolina, from northeastern Pennsylvania. So we're starting to get some of that cold weather. So it's feeling like home right now in Charlotte. I'm sure it's worse where you are, Whitney, in Denver, but here I am complaining. So I head up all of our acquisitions and dispositions. That's on the multifamily side and the car wash side primarily. My background is in multifamily real estate. My first job was as a property manager in college of student housing. I then worked for a company called Morgan Properties, who is about $8 billion worth of apartments based near Philadelphia. Moved down to Charlotte, worked as an analyst for a smaller firm, and then as an associate for a family office, and then got connected with Dan and Danny back in 2021, beginning of 2021.
Awesome. Well, we are so fortunate to have you. So I want to say their loss, our game, but I am so excited. Yeah. You've been indispensable. Your team's been indispensable with us helping scale our portfolio here, not only for passiveinvesting.com, but for our investors. Now, that's what I want to talk to you about. We've been investing in car washes, at least rolled out to our investors for almost 2 years. And we have, had some major learnings over the past couple of years. And so can you provide us just like a little bit of overview of like the key elements that make our express car wash model, investment model, like effective for our investors?
Yeah, I think, the one thing I really like about this company is that everyone is a kind of continuous learner, and we try to take action, but also as we're taking action, try to take a second to pause, look at things from a high level, see if there's different things we could be doing, or how we could do anything better. There's a very kind of flat chain of command. So if someone has an idea, it's more than welcome for them to bring it to me, or if I want to bring something to Danny. So I like that about the company. And so what we found as we were acquiring and operating these car washes is you start to learn things after 30 car washes, and you start to kind of see trends happening. We have an immense amount of data that we were gathering from our existing portfolio, and we were doing kind of correlation studies and trending out different expenses and revenues, and trying to tie that to different demographic trends and traffic counts and population and all kinds of things within certain miles of radiuses and all these kinds of things. So we found a couple of things that really were a higher correlation than others. And so we started identifying these, and now applying those to our new acquisitions. So we know what makes a good car wash a good car wash. We have, like I said, 30 financial statements, 30 operating statements of all these car washes we've acquired. We've been able to trend that data and really understand, what makes a good car wash a good car wash. A lot of our initial thoughts were confirmed. And then always just trying to improve. What can our philosophy be, and this year, next year, in 5 years, in 10 years, how can we be most successful in the car wash space? And so, like I said, we've got a really great team. We got Hubert on the analyst side. And so he was digging deep on those correlation studies. And then, we would have calls with Cameron Broom, our head of operations, who is probably the most knowledgeable person I know about car washes in such a short time period. And so he knows, soup to nuts, A to Z, everything about a car wash. We bring him on our on-site visits, gather questions from him that we should be asking on acquisition front, and kind of be able to adjust and confirm our suspicions after that.
Well, and that's awesome. I want to kind of get it, since we are gathering so much data. I want to make sure that, we share, not the full model, right? Like, proprietary knowledge here, but like some of those key trends that we are looking at, that one, that investors should be aware of, but two, that just, that we're supporting by that data and that market data, that market research. So can you share, like, say, like, our top 3 to 5, like, key metrics that, that really are just like, this helps us. Obviously there's 30 or 40 or 60 underwriting criteria points, but just like those top 3 or 4 that investors should be aware of.
Yeah, I think the number one that we found, especially in our portfolio, is just being in a central retail area. We've reviewed hundreds and hundreds of car washes over the last couple of years, and you can have a car wash on a road with 35,000 traffic count, and you feel like it's in a really good location. But if you really start looking in that little micro area, and it's not by the Walmart, it's not by the Target, it's not by the Starbucks, it's not where the people that live in the residential areas are coming out of their homes, they're driving to this retail area on a Sunday to do their errands, to go shopping, to get something to eat. That is when they get their car washed. It's not they leave their house specifically to go get a car wash. They're typically doing some other kind of errand, and there's data to support this from services like Buxton is a service that we use. But people are generally getting their car washed when they're doing other errands, when they're already in the retail center of the area. So that's one thing that we've really tried to start implementing is, we've got a couple deals that are right on the out parcel of a Walmart, in a medium to smaller size town with no other car wash competition. That is a recipe for success. And you're also setting yourself up for success in the future. Even if competition comes in, we're setting ourselves up in the A-class location in these markets, to where if somebody else comes in, that's fine, but we're going to be on that hard corner by the Walmart, by the Target, by the grocery stores, right on that busy road, right on that intersection. And so they're going to always be fighting that uphill battle against us. And so that insulates us further from the new supply coming on. So I guess that was 2 things, but a third thing would be, obviously competition plays a huge role. So we like to see a certain amount of population per tunnel. It's usually about 15,000 population per tunnel in a 5-mile radius. So we want to make sure that the population is able to support a certain number of car washes. So if the population is 20,000 and there's 2 car washes within that 5-mile radius, that's probably a little bit too light in terms of the population and how many car washes are already there. And we're counting car washes as express car wash competition, not your self-serve or whatever dinky little car wash, but we're talking about real competition. And then if you see an area where the 5-mile population is 100,000 and there's 2 car washes, well, then that's more than enough population to be able to support that. Of course, you want to see growing areas, with population growth, with business growth, with tax-friendly states, which fits the bill in a lot of our southeastern states. But that's a few things that we look for.
And for investors that are looking for more kind of due diligence, checklist, like how can I underwrite an express car wash? Why would this fit in my portfolio? Could you just give like a maybe like a 60-second like synopsis, because we've talked extensively about this, like with Cameron, but if they can't, that don't have that video right at their fingertips, like wow, what is that kind of like 60-second little synopsis of why this could be a good asset to put in their portfolio?
Yeah. I'm trying to think about that because we obviously spend a lot more time than that to, decide if something's going to be good. But if I'm looking at it from a investor perspective where I only have, limited time to kind of vet these things out, I would say a lot of the things that we just spoke about would be type in the address into Google, go on the overview of the map and just look at it qualitatively. Like if you lived in this area, look where the residential areas are. It's really it's simple, it's not easy. So just look at it as you were looking at a car wash and see, is this in an area where I would find myself on a weekend while I'm running my errands? Is this by the Walmart? Is this by the retail centers of the town? Is there any competition nearby that could be in a better location than us? One thing we always check for is existing permits or future permits for future car washes. I don't know that that's something an investor would need to do, but that's, just the competition dynamic overall is going to be really important, as well as the ingress and egress. Like, is it an easy way? Is there an easy way to get into the property and out of the property? Is there a direct kind of curb cut from that main road to get you in, or do you have to go on a side road? That significantly cuts down your traffic count, and it's not right on that corner. You kind of have to go behind a Wendy's or a hotel or something that might be there. So I think looking at it qualitatively is good. You probably have gotten your car washed before in your life, and you can probably understand, what is something that you look for in a car wash when you're in your own town, and why do you go to the one that you go to? And if you really start thinking about that, it's probably true that it's more convenient for you to go to that one that you go to, unless you're a car guy like me and you want to make sure you're going to the really, really good car wash. But what we've found in all of our portfolio is that it's really more about convenience for the consumer, how much population is around that area. And you can find that on places like citydata.com. We use CoStar, which is a paid service, but there's plenty of free services out there that you can just check the population check the population growth. Which the population growth is a little less important than in a multifamily community. It's more about, for a car wash, the existing base of the population, the competition dynamic, and then being in that central retail area for us.
Mm. And, and even just for an investor who's kind of sitting here scratching their head, I mean, we're at the end of the year, maybe I've got like a little bit of cash left in the bank that I want to deploy before the end of the year. Like, do I want to add car washes to my portfolio? For me, I looked at it as a way to diversify my portfolio, within real estate. So, I have residential real estate, I have commercial real estate with self-storage, but now I can get real estate that has a cash flowing, low operational expenditure business on it. And so, it really, a lot of investors, even in this particular market, are still chasing yield. They still want to get a nice return on their investment. And, maybe their multifamily isn't, yielding that right now. Maybe their self-storage isn't really yielding that right now. Where can they turn to? And this has been an asset class that I've looked to add to my portfolio over the past year and a half. One, to diversify it. Two, to continue to take advantage of cash flow, but also, you still get nice equity bumps on the back end. And then also you can get some really nice tax depreciation benefits, especially this year with 80% bonus depreciation, this being the last year for 80% bonus depreciation, and then we'll drop down to 60% next year. So, not plugging any one investment, but this isn't, if you're sitting here at the end of the year trying to figure out where do I deploy capital, this could be an amazing asset class to take advantage of. Now that said, Eric, are there any specific regions that, for, this kind of enhanced express car wash model that fare better than others?
Yeah. So generally we're still looking within the Southeast. We went through a process where we sat down and looked at every city and every town in all of the states that our existing portfolio is in. And we went down and applied some criteria to each of those places in terms of competition, population, some of the ones I talked about with some additional ones. And we came up with a list of probably, 20 to 30 cities and towns in North Carolina, and probably 20 or so cities and towns in South Carolina. And we went down that list and started calling locally with our one of our acquisitions associates, Justin Hart, has been doing a great job just pounding the phones and getting on the phone with local brokers instead of your kind of national huge car wash brokers that send deals to everyone, and you're competing against a ton of different groups. So we've started with a more local kind of process, and we found a lot of success in doing that. And like I mentioned Buxton earlier, that's been a great resource for us. It's a software program that is built for car washes and gives you a ton of different data points with traffic patterns and population and competition dynamics. And they have their own site score process that we've kind of taken and adjusted in-house to have now our own site score. I hope that's not ripping them off, but we changed it.
You're improving upon.
That's right. That's right. So yeah, location is huge. And so we went through that, process of identifying all the cities and towns that fit our initial criteria that we've learned from our existing portfolio is what makes a good car wash a good car wash. And found these cities and towns, found the good locations in these towns, cold called the brokers, cold called landowners of parcels right outside of Walmarts that we really like, or right outside of Food Lions, or any kind of grocery stores. So yeah, that's what we've done as far as location goes.
Well, I want to pivot a little bit. How has technology played? How has that kind of helped the industry evolve? How are we leveraging technology like within this industry?
Yeah, Cameron Broom is obviously our managing partner over the HRA management over our car wash operations, and he's constantly learning about what's new in the car wash space. We've developed our own app. We've came up with some pretty novel ideas in the car wash space and taken some things we've learned in other asset classes and applied them to the car wash space. And it showed in our operations of our current car washes as far as how much we've been able to improve, the revenue and expenses and EBITDA from before we took over to after we took over. It's been a really cool thing to see those things in practice and actually work. As far as on the acquisition side, like I mentioned, Buxton, obviously we use that a ton to kind of use their data. We use CoStar, we use Yardi for different kinds of population metrics, demographic data. And then just like getting on the phone and not being too good to just get on the phone and call the county and figure out what's going on in that county, talk to the zoning people, make sure everything's good there, see if there's any permits going out. So that those are, I guess, a few ways that we've used that so far.
Now, I've got a couple more questions for you as we wrap up and we move into our Ask Me Anything portion of the show. And for those of you who are here live, I encourage you, go to your Q&A box, drop in your question there. And, we can either get those queued up for afterwards, or if there's a couple interesting ones, we'll ask them live. But what do you see? Right now it's November, end of November 2023. Everybody's getting geared up for the holiday season and into 2024. What challenges or obstacles do you see investors facing in this space? And how does our enhanced model help mitigate those challenges?
Yeah, you're talking specifically in the car wash space?
Yes, we can get into all other areas of underwriting in a later episode, but specifically in the car wash space.
Yeah, I think if you look up, I won't name any specific companies, but there's larger companies out there in the car wash space that are going through challenges, and maybe these are groups with hundreds and hundreds of car washes, and probably did not apply some competition dynamics, population dynamics, and kind of grew for the sake of growing. And what we've done is really slowed down our growth a little bit, which enabled us to really think clearly and think intelligently about, well, where do we want to pivot? How does this pivot look? what kind of car washes do we want to go after? So yeah, I would say, you know, some of these bigger companies are facing some challenges right now, and we've looked at you know, some of these assets, and they do not fit our criteria as far as, you know, there's maybe 3 car washes in the, you know, in the 3-mile radius, and there's 20,000 or 30,000 people, and that's just not really enough to support a great car wash. And we've also learned that while Class A apartments are very nice and we really enjoy those, you know, there at a certain point you have a diminishing return when you're thinking about how nice looking a car wash is, or how, you know, fancy it's built. You don't need to have the you know, Class A plus 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 car wash that, you know, looks amazing when you're driving down the street. You probably need to have a more normal looking car wash, or of course a nice car wash. We're talking in terms of nicer express washes is our area, so we're talking within that zone. But we've learned that, so maybe, you know, focusing in more on location, demographics, competition dynamics, and not so much, you know, worried about if they went all out on the construction and it looks super amazing and everyone loves the way it looks.
Wise words there, Eric. You know, as we wrap up the live portion of our show, you know, what do you want investors to walk away with from this particular episode?
I would say just understanding what you know, what the kind of potential downfalls are, like we talked about with some of these larger car wash operators, making sure that if you're looking at these investments from a global perspective, making sure you understand just a couple things to look for, which obviously we talked about with you know, the competition, the population, the different dynamics that these car washes are facing, and you know, understanding that it also takes a lot of hard work on the operations side, and that's an understatement. So we've got a great team in place with Cameron and his team, and we've been able to acquire and operate 30 car washes at this point. And there's a lot of experience and a lot of knowledge gained from that. And so I only think that we're just getting better at identifying good opportunities and you know, putting, you know, rubber to the road in terms of just you know, getting these car washes up and running and operating the way we need them to.
Awesome. Well, Eric, thank you so much for your time here today. If you guys are joining us live, don't go anywhere. We're about to move into the Ask Me Anything part of our show. Eric, again, thank you.
Thank you.